Yeah, you can't convince me that Donovan Mitchell wouldn't be an elite point guard. Notice I didn't say good, I said elite. I meant it when I said elite. I just want to dive into some hypotheticals. I'm not saying anything needs to change. I'm gonna just start off by saying I like a little bit of shooting guard in my point guards, where you have the sense that, okay, I'm a good scorer, and I'm gonna be assertive about being a good scorer, but at the same time, knowing when and how to distribute and facilitate the basketball. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what I feel what Donovan Mitchell is really good at. And I think it goes under the radar with him. I've seen him be able to balance assertiveness as a scorer with, the just ability to be a quarterback and be a floor general. Now listen, I've seen him do it with the Jazz. I've heard he did a little in college, and I've definitely seen him do it with the Cavs. When he was with the Jazz, 6 to 7 assists per game guy in stretches without Mike Conley, 25 to 27 points per game in those stretches without Mike Conley. So I've seen him do it with Utah. Like I said, he's done it some in college. And then Cleveland. Don't even get me started on his point guard stretches with Cleveland, because I'm going to start first with this season. There's been games where either Darius, Garland, or Ty Jerome has been out. And in Donovan Mitchell's non-Ty Jerome and non-Darius Garland minutes, I've been so impressed with how he's been able to quarterback the offense. Just not only by giving us highlight passes, he even does that when Darius Garland and Ty Jerome is on the floor. But not only his ability to just dazzle you with his ability to facilitate the basketball, but I just think, like I said, his balance of scoring, knowing when to score, and knowing when to pass in these non-Ty Jerome and non-Darius Garland minutes, I think it's been incredible. And then the biggest point I want to get to is last year in the 20-game stretch without Darius Garland. I believe the Cavs went like 18-2. Or 19-1 or something like that, somewhere in that realm. And Donovan Mitchell averaged like 26, 27 points per game, and he averaged like 8 assists in that stretch. And I need to come down and just put it more simpler for you guys. Donovan Mitchell is arguably the best playmaking shooting guard. In my mind, it's easily him and Devin Booker. Another thing I think is really underrated about Donovan Mitchell is the fact that this man has an incredible sense of his own offensive gravity. Like, not only does he know that he has the offensive gravity that he has for a player of, as big as a threat to score as he is, I think Donovan Mitchell knows how to operate off of his gravity. So he knows that he's going to get the defense's attention. He knows how to react off of the defense's attention and find the open man and make dazzling passes, being a quarterback while doing so. Like, it's not only the ability to balance his assertive scoring and his, distribution numbers, but at the same time, I just think he has a great feel for knowing, okay, I'm gonna get a lot of attention. I know how to feed guys the ball and find an open man off of my attention. Listen, I'm gonna tell you guys one thing I hate is when I'm making a fire take with fire points and I'll go back and watch the video and I find out I forgot some of my key points. Listen, I just wanted to add this. Donovan Mitchell has some elite court vision, man. Like, there will be passes and a lot of times where I'm watching games of the Cavs and Donovan Mitchell's court vision just shows the man has some elite vision, especially in his point guard minutes without either Ty Jerome or Darius Garland on the floor. And also, I want to mention why it's so important to have the balance of being an assertive scorer and a good distributor. Like I was talking about in the beginning of the video, listen, one of the main problems with Devin Booker being a point guard in Phoenix, and this is not to knock Devin Booker as a playmaker because I believe he has good playmaking skills, but one of the problems people feel Devin Booker has as a point guard is sometimes he don't know whether, to pass or to score. Donovan, in his point guard stretches, I feel like he's done an amazing job at that. And I just think as a point guard, yeah, be an assertive scorer, but you got to know when to pass, when to score. And that could be a detriment to certain guys who have shooting guard tendencies and, have to be or want to be or end up being a point guard. Donovan Mitchell, I feel like, would excel in that because he's proven to me and he's won in stretches and he's put up good numbers where he's, been a point guard and it seems like he's known when to pass and when to score. I will die on this hill, and I want to see a year where Donovan Mitchell potentially gets the chance to be the sole point guard of his team. I think the fact that Donovan's also a great point of attack scorer is a great thing, and I think it's a special trait that all elite point guards have to have. I think Donovan is a great downhill scorer, and just the mix of that with him knowing how to operate off of his own offensive gravity, is really good. But I'm gonna get to this. I think Donovan Mitchell, you know, he has gotten some MVP hype over the years, especially with him having the ability to lead good teams. But at the same time, I feel like he'd get so much more MVP hype if he was a full-time point guard, because not only would he still be a great scorer, but his passing numbers would skyrocket. I feel like he's averaging 5 assists this year with the Cavs. I feel like if he were to be a full-time point guard with the Cavs, or not with the Cavs, but let's just say in this instance with the Cavs, because why would he leave the Cavs? I feel like he'd be like a 7 assists per game guy, averaging maybe 26, 27 points a game, maybe 25, and depending on the situation. But I feel like the mix of scoring and, you know, more passing numbers for Donovan Mitchell, if he were to be the full-time point guard, and his ability to lead winning teams, which he has done time and time again in the regular season throughout his career, I feel like as an MVP candidate, his status would rocket on so many levels. Now, let me tell you guys what I'm not saying in this video. Maybe I should have put this at the beginning so some of you don't take this and run with it if you stop the video at a certain point. What I'm not saying is that things need to change for Cleveland. Everything is perfectly fine the way it is, especially for Donovan Mitchell. He is best when he can only lock in on scoring. That doesn't mean he's not good as a point guard, because I believe he's great, but I believe he's better when he can just focus on scoring and just focus on his assertiveness as a scorer and being a shooting guard. I'm not saying he needs to be a point guard over a shooting guard. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying the Cavs needs to get rid of Darius Garland. Everything is just fine in Cleveland. Obviously, as a Cavs fan myself, I'm enjoying it. Nothing needs to change. But I've watched Donovan Mitchell for the entirety of his career, and I have sat back time and time again and said, okay, you cannot tell me this dude would not be an elite point guard in the NBA. But that discussion is now up to you guys. Everybody, I enjoyed this discussion. This has been Malik Hicks. I'm signing off. Peace out. And I'll see you on the other side. Peace.